So welcome. My name is Brendan Curran, Dominican Friar, co-promoter for Justice and Peace North America, joining you today for today, this evening, tonight, or late into the night. You are at various points of the calendar of the hours of the day, representing the Dominican family all over the world from every different uh, time zone. Appreciate your joining us as we get started. Again, this will be an important update from Voices in the Cameroon that we'll be sharing just shortly. But first, invite our dear brother, promoter of justice and peace for the province of Canada, Prakash Lahale, to share us and lead us in prayer.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Good evening, good afternoon. My name is Prakash. I am the local promoter for Justice and Peace for the province of Canada, and it's my great privilege to welcome all of you. I see people from Asia and from South Africa. Good to see you, Mike Deep, our former general promoter, and also so many others that we know or have met across in our journey. So thank you very much for coming here. And in a special welcome to John Paul Tagehu, Sister Geraldine, and John were going to share with us about the situation in Cameroon. So just let's take a moment of silence and pray in a special way for the people in Cameroon. Father, we thank you for bringing us here together during this month of peace. We thank you for making us aware of the situation in Cameroon, and we ask you to open our hearts and our minds so that we can understand the situation a little better to our brothers and sisters. We ask you to bless them as they share with us their griefs and sorrows, and help us to join in solidarity to continue this month of peace, not only in praying, but in acting in solidarity. We make this prayer to Christ our Lord. Amen.
And thanks so much, Prakash. It's great to join everyone near and far across the world joining us for this important conversation and reflection. And as we do a community learning about the situation of Cameroon and important outreach, we want to set the sense of the situation with you by hearing from our dear brother Jean Paul from the Dominican province of St. Charles Luanga, from Cameroon himself, now on mission in Canada, sharing with us a few words as welcome as all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you, to all of you for your concern about Cameroon, my country, my beloved country. Well, I am not sure to speak English like you, but I will try my best. So my speaking here is mainly, it's like a testimony as Cameroonian, as Dominican priest, and most especially as the former promoter for justice and peace in my province, St. Charles Luanga. Well, Sister Jean, or maybe John, may be the one to speak really, because they were in Bamenda, they live in Bamenda, mainly sister. Sister are the one really seeing every day what is happening there. I went to Bamenda where we have a civil war, like a forgotten civil war, 9 years now, just for some days or for some weeks. So, first of all, let me thank you all for your concern. I am very grateful also to the Lord, who is giving me this opportunity, finally, to speak, to make my voice being heard all over the world on this issue. Cameroon is a bilingual country. A bilingual country, why? because Cameroon was before under the protectorate of the Germans. The Germans were the ones to come to Cameroon first. That was after the Berlin Conference in 1883. That was where Africa was shared. Africa was shared to France, Spanish, Germans, and many other colonial masters. And then the Germans lost the war, the two world wars. And because of that, they have to leave Cameroon. And when they finally left Cameroon, after they lost the war in 1945, so the British wanted Cameroon, and French also wanted to have Cameroon. So the UN now decided to divide Cameroon into two. One part, the part close to Nigeria, you call it Western Cameroon or Anglophone Cameroon. And the part close to Central African Republic, that part went to France, is the biggest. So since then, Cameroon become a bilingual country, in the hand of the British and the French. That was then, before our independence in 1960. So, after our independence in 1960, we really have two countries. We call it federal. We came to unite the two parts, Anglophone part and Francophone part, to form one country, one federal country. That was Federal Cameroon. Meaning that the Anglophone, they have their way of life. They have their way of ruling. They follow the common law of nation. And then the French part follow, French policy. So in 1972, it's just a short history before giving you my testimony. In 1972, our fathers say, well, let us not allow ourselves to be divided into colonial master. Let us be one again, one like before the Germans. And so we call it United Republic of Cameroon. United Republic of Cameroon. That means from Federal Republic of Cameroon, we now have United Republic of Cameroon. So when Paul Biya went to power, Paul Biya is our ruler now, our leader of today. He's 93 years old. He just rigged elections in October to stay there again for another time. So he wants to die on power. So Paul Biya now say, well, you are no more going to call this country United Republic of Cameroon. We are going to call it Republic of Cameroon. We are going to do everything, to pay a special attention to Anglophone. I'm just telling you this for you to get very well, the source of the problem now. So after years after years, so Anglophone now was like oppressed linguistically by Francophone, because Francophone are many. And then that time, job opportunities are mainly in Francophone part. That means Anglophones have to struggle a lot. They have to speak French. French and English officially are our two national languages. But we speak more of French than of English. And those who are really bilingual in Cameroon, they are mostly Anglophone because they are the ones to struggle. Cameroon is like the reverse of Canada in terms of languages. So the suffering of Anglophones started since that time. So they have to struggle. But let me get it short because I'm not doing history here. I'm just trying to give a testimony, a little testimony. So year after years, Anglophone they were suppressed, they were oppressed, so to speak. How? When for instance, they have to assign judges in Anglophone parts. So they will assign French judges in Anglophone courts. Those French judges, they don't even know how to speak English first. They have to assign teachers, mostly Francophone teachers. They can't even speak a word in English to teach Anglophone. So that was finally one of the causes of the problem. So in 2016, lawyers and some teachers, they went on strike, protesting, saying we need to have at least teachers who can speak our language. We need to have judges in the court who can speak at least English. So the government now sent policemen and military, so to beat them, to jail them, to rape some of them. From that time, so people of Anglophone, they have to resist. You know, there is a say in Anglophone part now, when injustice becomes a rule, so we have the right to resist. So since then, they are resisting. And in the matter of resisting, the war came in. Since 9 years now, we are having wars there. At least 6,000 people were killed. Of about 2,000 military men were killed. I'm not counting damages, material damages, houses burned, and many other schools shut down, and many other things. And then seeing that, as promoter of justice and peace then, so I went to Bamenda because brothers are afraid to go there. Nobody wants to go there because when you are there is a risk. You know, military men can think you are coming to assist the Amber Boys. Amber Boys are the separatists now. So, but I took a risk to go there because some other Dominican brothers, even Cameroonians, they don't want to go there. They are afraid to be killed. But when I was ordained in 2018, I went there for my Thanksgiving Mass. I spent some days with sisters. I was supposed to leave the place after 2 days, but I spent a week because the war was there. That was that time the peak of the war, the peak of the fight between the separatists and our national army. And then I met with the prioress. So children were full in the monastery, crying. Some without their parents were killed. That was a concern for me and the prioress then. So I told the prioress that time, well, sister, we can't just be there to be praying or to condemn, because I issued some documents to condemn killings there when I was promoter for justice and peace. So I convinced sister for us to establish a farm. So we established a farm at least to support the hungry, because there were many in the monastery. That was in 2019. So the farm, that was the farm for plantains, bananas, and many other crops or something like. And from that, we succeeded to pay school fees for some orphans, like 20 or 50 since then. That's what I could do. So I did it out of my pocket money, because my province, I spoke with the provincial. The provincial said, well, we don't have money for that. We are even struggling to support the brothers in formation, not to speak of sisters. So we tried that. This is just my little testimony. So those really to speak on this issue, are sisters. For 9 years or almost 10 years, they are the one in the heart, in the whole of that war in Bamenda. Bamenda is that Anglophone part, Bamenda in Buea. So let me stop here and give the floor perhaps to Sister Jean, who is living in that monastery, and then who is facing with, alongside with her sister in the monastery, the suffering from this war. Thank you so much for listening to me. Sorry for my English. You know, English is my fifth language. Thank you so much.
Amazing. A member of our Dominican laity, who are numerous in Cameroon and in the area of the most endangered zone, is John Sewoyeba, who is here with us. John, if you can put your voice on, we would love to hear from you as one who has visited the sisters there, to share a few words at this time.
Good. Father Brendan Curran, I'm happy to be on this platform. I've been struggling and my network is very poor. We have no power. I'm in the dark.
Wow.
And this evening, I was just talking with the prioress of the Dominican Nuns in Bombui, who said they would have loved to be in this platform but they are not able to have their phones and their laptops charged because of lack of power. And even the little solar power that they had failed them. Their phones could not be charged. That is the reality on the ground. I'm also very delighted in this platform to meet with Father Mike Deep from South Africa, who, within the heat of the war, I had the opportunity to constantly share with him. And there were moments that I had to flee from my home for my safety. And while hiding in the forest, I spoke with him in many occasions. I spoke with Father Mike Deep from the forest while looking for safety. He has been encouraging us and encouraging me throughout this period. And at one point, I had to relocate for safety, and I kept on communicating with him, and he kept on encouraging me with through his writings and through his phone calls and so on. That said, I can speak like somebody who has been living and witnessing the heat of the crisis of the war.
Nope.
First,
Sorry to interrupt you, John. Sister Geraldine is back. So if we could hear from her while her power is on.
Let's hear from Sister first. That's
so
good.
Sorry to make this choppy for others, but technical difficulties are the reality. Sister Geraldine, we welcome Sister Geraldine Tarr from the monastery of St. Dominic to share a few words and perspectives from the sisters there.
Thank you, Father Brendan. Thank you, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you great.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this meeting tonight. I must say, the Dominican Nuns of Bambu, many would have loved to join, but due to power failure, they can't join. There's not even power to charge the phones or the machines. So I'm speaking right from Douala here, where I came. I've been here for 3 weeks on mission. So, of course, power issue is general in Cameroon, but our case in Bamenda is different. So I'm just saying that's why my sisters cannot be part of it. But thank God I am privileged to be part of it. Thank you for the justice and peace of the order for thinking of Cameroon and thinking of Cameroon in these difficult times. So I will be sharing the experience of the nuns of Bamenda, of Bambui, We are not speaking like politicians, or we are not getting into politics, but we are simply sharing our reality, our lived reality for 9 years. Like Jean-Paul said, it has been 9 years. He has given a brief history of how things have been. And like he says, we have been at the heart of it. It's not an easy situation. So since the beginning of this crisis, normally in our monastery, we run a retreat house. We do other things like we do vestments, we do altar bread, and those things they have to get out into the market. But I tell you that since the emergence of this crisis, there is no way by which we can market anything we have. The retreat house just shut down, and it became a safe space for the IDPs who flocked our monasteries every day. Like Jean-Paul said, when he came up, there were many of them, mostly women and children, because most of the husbands have been killed, or most of them, they have fled into hiding in other places. Sometimes the wives don't even know where their husbands are. The children don't know where their fathers are. The fathers don't know where their wives and children are. So that is our situation, and we have lived through it. So our monastery, rather than us keeping that we were contemplatives and we set aside from the world, we had to open our doors to the world of the time, and we keep opening them even till today. So it's not an easy thing to pass a night in Bambu, because deafening gunshots are the order of the day right till today as I speak. So people came in, lots and lots of people came in. When you have to, we call you running, when they are running away from their homes, they don't even have the opportunity to pick a pin, to talk of taking a dress, they can't carry anything, they are just running with themselves. So they come to us as they are. So we have to provide feeding for them, we have to provide medication for them, we have to provide clothing for them. Like Jean-Paul said, when he came up and looked at the situation, he said, no, we have to do something. So we had to open a farm of plantation where we can cultivate fruits. Some, if there is a possibility, we can sell and we get a little money from there. And he talked about schools. I just want to let you know that schools are just kind of resuming these days. For 5 or more years, there have been no schools. Even children who came out from their homes or from their hiding places.
Let us give her a second as she has frozen. Sister Geraldine, can you hear us now?
I am hearing you, Brenda.
There you go.
Oh,
Wonderful. If you would wish to continue, we would be very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish to continue as long as Sarah will allow me.
Terrific.
So, like I was saying, that is how we opened the doors of the monastery to all these women and children who came running. Sometimes it is late in the night, we are hearing them knocking at the gate. We have to get up and go and open the gate and welcome hundreds of them coming in. And thank God we had the retreat house there. It just became a safe space for them. We housed them there. We fed them with what we could afford. We clothed them. We got clothes from a few friends. People gave us clothes, people gave us shoes, because these people came literally empty with nothing. So we started the project with Brother Jean-Paul to raise money for the upkeep, the feeding of these children and women, their school fees when schools started to go on. And then we ourselves, the sisters, were going down because health-wise, the health of the sisters is breaking, because this thing comes with a lot of emotional, psychological stress, and sisters, at some point, they are not able to support it, so their health breaks down. And so sisters were going down in health a lot. So we started getting even worried about ourselves. If we have to care for these people, how are we going to do with ourselves? Also getting health challenges. So at some point, we don't even know what is causing health problems with us. So someone suggested that maybe we look at our living conditions. So in all of this, I must say the lay Dominicans also have been very supportive towards us in cash, in kind, in their presence. Those who can brave it, like John, they come to us. So we have really had a working, collaborative way of working together. So at some point, John, being a technician, should I call him an architect, decided that it was good to check the monastery, to look at the buildings, because our buildings are over 50 years old. So then John came to realize that the water pipes have been buried in the earth for all those times. So they are rusty. And so the water we are consuming is not even healthy for us. First of all, our monastery was built in a swampy area. So that produces a lot of moist around. The walls keep collapsing because it's moist. So with all of that, the place is not conducive for the sisters. And then also, given that the construction of that time was as it was, imagine buildings for over 50 years with no proper maintenance, no renovations. So we came to realize that that is causing us a lot of health challenges. So that is one of the things we have been looking at. What do we do about it? Okay, the altar break we used to do, the machines are breaking down. They have broken with the challenge of electricity. We are running a generator which is breaking down right there. As I'm saying, sisters can't even charge their phones to attend this meeting, because the generator at the present moment is broken. We can't use it. So it's not of any help to us. So these and other challenges are the challenges that the sisters are facing. So we say we need to be even strong to be able to assist these people. Right now, we have IDPs in our monastery. There is a woman and her 3 daughters. So what we do at one point is, sometimes we say that we are employing them, we take them, we keep them, we give them some portion of the work to do. What they are able to do, they do. Then we are able also from them, we reserve some money financially. Then we support these children in school, given with the one that lay Dominicans from time to time, they chip in something for us. The example, the farm project is giving in a little for us. So that's how we are able to be supporting these children. But on our own part, it needs that our living conditions be improved so that we can be able to have good health, to be able to take care of the challenges that we are having at hand. So more or less, that is our situation. That's how we are living. And like Brother Jean-Paul said, sometimes, not sometimes, but all the times, we are torn in between the government forces of law and order and the ones we call them the separatist fighters today. Because if you go to the forces of law and order because you think this needs to be put in order, you have the forces of the separatists to contend with. If you go to the forces of the separatists, you have the forces of law and order to contend with. These are challenges that we are living through every day. Right now, most of the people who come to us, they spend the night with us, and during the day, they have to go out to look for take care of their farms, because from there also the farms that are accessible, where security is safe for them to go, they have to go there. So most of them come and spend the night, because what is obtaining now is we wake up in the morning, there are corpses everywhere in the neighborhood. Don't ask me who killed who or who did what, but this is the reality. So sometimes people can't spend the night in their homes because you don't know what to expect. So since our place looks safe, they prefer they spend the night with us, and then during the day they go out to fend for themselves. So these are realities that we are living every day, every day. So I think maybe if I break here.
That just to help everyone, Sister Geraldine, thanks for your description. Just for people to know what IDP is, that's internally displaced persons. And Sister Geraldine, could you just share how many people from what families have been staying the night, these recent nights, just to give people a description of the situation?
Yeah, like I said, it's mostly women and children, because the men have to go and hide in the bushes or wherever they hide, I don't know. So you get a family, like you get a mother and 3 children, you get a mother and 2 children, you get a mother and 4 children. So that is the situation, and there are many of such. And at the same point, I was committing something. Most of these women that are coming today with children are widows because their husbands have been killed. Most of them are widows. So we have to support them as widows. We have to support them as mothers. We have to support the children as orphans. So most of them are widows, because right now the ones that are, let me say, permanently, at least for the time they are there with us, the children leave from the monastery and go to the Catholic school nearby and come back. They are women that their husbands have been killed. Some of them, they never even saw the corpses of their husbands. So they are there with us at this moment on which I'm speaking. So that is the situation. They are coming and going. Those that don't have a nearby neighborhood to go to, we have to keep them in the monastery, because some come right from Bamenda. Is not just this city we are looking at, but it extends right to the Kumbu. It's about 6 hours journey from Bamenda to Kumbu. So when you get a woman and children that have escaped from Kumbu and come to Bamenda, they have no relative to live with. So we keep them in the monastery. The children live from the monastery, they go and attend school, and they come back to the monastery.
So that is probably very helpful for us that you're talking about people who have traveled very far distances to find refuge with you. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And for how long has this been going on? Has this been all 9 years, or maybe beyond that? Could you help remind our group for the pattern of this kind of reality of desperation of people needing to find a place of refuge with you?
Yeah, look, let me say this has been going on for almost 9 years, because once the crisis came to a hit, to a point that security became a problem, when homes of whole villages were burnt into ashes. Families were displaced. You got a family where a mother is here with one child. She doesn't know where the other children are. She doesn't know where the husband is. The husband, if he is alive, he doesn't know. So families were torn apart. It's almost 9 years, and that is the reality.
Wow,
Almost 9 years, and that is the reality we are living with today.
very helpful. I don't know if John has a good connection, but I freely invite him to share a few words. John, if you can unmute, uh, John Sewoyeba, Dominican
Yes. Can
laity,
you get me?
brother, we got you great. Yeah, thanks. Could you add a few remarks yourself? Thanks so much.
Yes, the connectivity has been so bad. I had to relocate, get out of the house, jump into the cool to look for where I can get a bit of network. I appreciate the introduction of Father Jean Paul, and I also appreciate and applaud the contribution of Sister Geraldine. All they have said is true. Father introduced it so well. The whole situation is rooted in deception, historical deception, as I can say it. If you look at the mission of St. Dominic, his mission is rooted in truth, justice, and peace. And the fruit of peace is justice, and the fruit of justice is truth. Where there is no truth, there is bound to be injustice. And if people are crying that there is no justice, it means that the truth has been distorted somewhere. So in the history of this country, in our history, in our context, there have been a lot of deception, which has not given the rise or the possibility for justice to be established. And of course, the fruit of that justice, which should be peace. I remember Paul VI, in one of his encyclicals, said, development is another name for peace, which is true. If people have been pushed to the wall, it is because of also underdevelopment, marginalization, like Jean-Paul introduced, and assimilation, attempted assimilation and marginalization, and all what you can think of. Like Sister has said, she has painted the true picture, which we are living, I am living within the context of the crisis. And at one point, like Father Jean-Paul said, he had to brave it to come. And no other brothers, every other Dominican brothers were afraid. And I want to appreciate the Dominican Family Initiative for the month of peace and for the choice of Cameroon, because our situation has been underreported. The mainstream medias are not talking about it. Even the statistics that Father tried to put it out there, 6,000 people have been killed and so on. There are the statistics that are given by the official medium, which are not in itself true, because nobody is actually doing the count. Every day, there are dead bodies left and right. Every day, people are killed, and nobody is taking account. This is the reality. And the situation of human dignity has been relegated. There is no dignity to human life any longer. I was appreciating the presence of Father Mike Deep, because at that time he was the promoter. When this crisis began, he was the promoter for justice and peace before he handed to Father Anedi. Actually, when he handed, I had been their correspondent on the ground, who was, sharing with them my own pain and the pain we were going through. Father Mike know very well. We had a video conversation when he handed over, and he asked Father Anedi to continue to encourage us and to talk with us and so on, and we have been sharing a lot. He knows the truth about what has been going on and what we have been sharing. And if the Dominican family turns their solidarity, their prayers to us, it is because of the Dominicans who are living and witnessing in this conflict situation. I don't think that the Dominicans in Yaoundé or Douala has got up one day to go to their activity and they have been interrupted because there is shutdown, because of some type of trouble, because of a crossfire. But the Dominicans in Bamenda, who are in the conflict zone, of recent, there are other Dominicans in Kumbu, in the active Dominican sisters in Kumbu. This is the situation we have been living on for more than 9 years. And like I was saying, there are moments that I spoke with Father Jean-Paul, who was the vicar at that time, from the forest, calling his attention that this is the situation. I had to escape my family and go to the forest. To go to the monastery from the city is about, from my home, is about 40 minutes drive. I have to do a novena of prayers before I have the courage to go and meet the sisters. Like he is saying, there are times that their generator will break, and I will not have the courage to go and check whether I can give them a helping hand. But we have to, like family members, to brave it to go, even to visit to say, hello, how are you doing? This is the reality. Some lay Dominicans have been shot and killed. We have lost our members within the context of the war. Some have lost their children. Many lay Dominicans have been displaced. As we speak, there are many out of Cameroon who have escaped for their safety. And as we speak, the situation only changes faces. It has not ended, but it changes faces, and there is a high level of insecurity as we are speaking. Kidnappings for ransom. You could do anything. You can just be shot by anybody, and nobody has. They say there is no justice. So this is the situation we have been living on, but we have stood braving it like family members, and also in appreciation. This Dominican Month for Peace has come like a great consolation and a source of hope for us to have belonged to a family that cares, a family that supports. I think this was a great initiative 8 years ago after the celebration of the 800th Jubilee. This is one of the greatest initiatives that answers to the reading of the signs of our time. We are so appreciative of the Dominican Order and for the initiative they are picking to pray with us, to come to our aid, to support us, and so on and so forth. It has been so wonderful, but we are not very, very safe at all. There are times that I had to move my children out of Bamenda, whether they can have an education. We have had to change a lot of our plans. We live in the city, but we come from villages. And I tell you, for 5 years, I am not able to go back to my own village. It is not safe to travel within the territory. And like Father Jean-Paul was saying, if you come, it's like 2 countries in one. If you were to visit Cameroon in the French-speaking part of it, you will not be aware that there's something going on. But if you were to come to the English-speaking zone of Cameroon, that is when you will know the reality. And I appreciate him for the bravery he had to come and stay with the sisters and for the support he has done. That is highly recognized, and we appreciate his courage. one of the requests we were making when we met with the master of the order in Yaoundé when he came for the canonical visitation, and we had the opportunity to celebrate Mass with him, was that, and which we have been making, was that the friars should establish in Bamenda and be close to the sisters and close to the lay Dominicans so that the family can be complete. And one of the cries of our late Archbishop Paul Vetekov of blessed memory, when he was giving the lay Dominicans the canonical erection in 2001, in his sermon, he said he has prayed for 25 years to have Dominican friars, but God has not given him Dominican friars. God has given him Dominican laity. And the laity and the local church has been in good collaboration. As we speak, there are no friars in Bamenda, but the Archbishop of Bamenda has appointed a diocesan priest to be our chaplain, to be close to us, to answer to our spiritual needs. This is a wonderful, collaboration with the Dominicans in Bamenda and the local church. I don't know whether I have established myself so well, or is there any question or any direction you need to lead me to?
Other comments or questions? Wow, fantastic, John. Appreciate it greatly. It might be helpful to just ask our respective members from our different branches who are involved in Cameroon to just remind us of, first of all, the numbers. So, John, could you kind of share about the numbers of laity in Cameroon? And Jean-Paul, if you could help us too with friars, just to give people that perspective.
Okay, I go ahead. In Cameroon, the lay Dominicans began in Bamenda, and it is the Dominican nuns of Bombui, Bamenda, that gave birth to the lay Dominicans. We began 26 years ago, and then we are presently, we have about 21 finally professed members and about 6 temporary professed members, with some who are on formation towards final commitment. We have also the presence of, we after Bamenda, we gave birth to the Fraternity in Yaoundé that has about 13 finally professed members. And then we have a Fraternity in Douala that has about 11 finally professed members. We also have what we call fraternal groups. In Bamenda, Yaoundé, and Douala, these fraternities are canonically erected. They are recognized by the local bishop and by the provincial. They are canonical status. But there are other groups where the lay Dominicans are being formed towards growing into a full-fledged fraternity. They are in Bafie. Bafie is near Yaoundé. Yaoundé is giving that offshoot. And within the city of Yaoundé, there is another fraternal group in Cité Verte. Cité Verte is still, Yaoundé is a large city. It's still the group in Yaoundé, the fraternity in Yaoundé, giving birth to this group. And then in Douala, there is a fraternal group in Bonaberi, which is still an offshoot of Douala. This is how it is expanding. And beyond Cameroon, we have lay Dominicans present in Central Africa. There are a few of them. We are still trying to encourage them. There are some present in the Congo, Brazzaville. There are just few of them, and we are, since we formed the province, when we work together with all these ones in correspondence, and a lay Dominican from Cameroon had visited Congo, Brazzaville to encourage, to witness to their formation and their professions and so on. So this is how we are structured, and membership is growing steadily.
Wonderful. Sister Geraldine, I know we have two other questions in the chat that we do want to discuss. But first, just briefly, Sister Geraldine and John Paul, just to give people a sense of the numbers and sites of communities, just give people a little bit of the geography there, and then into Gustav's question that he wrote in the chat, then Mike Deeb. Sister Geraldine, how many nuns are there at the monastery?
Yeah, we had, I think I've omitted something very important, because when the health of the sisters started collapsing, I must say, the monastery in Bambuy was founded from Holland by the Dutch nuns. So when our health started collapsing, we were afraid that it will not be good, that this should die with us. So we were praying and reflecting and looking what to do, and knowing very well that we did not have the means even to do anything. But at some point, after lots of prayers and reflection, we thought, no, it will not die with us. So in spite of our financial lack, we had to do something. So we had to move 5 sisters to go to Uganda to begin a monastery there. They have been there 2 years now. So that
Wow.
at least if we in Bambuy are dying, we should at least also have expanded the order to another region. And so five solemn professed nuns are in Uganda. Then back in Bambuy, we are 11 professed nuns, 4 in temporary, no, not 4, 2, 4, yeah, 4 in temporary vows. So that is our number in Bambuy. But then again, let me say that with the emergence of this crisis, vocations have slowed down a lot, because with all the displacement, with all the schools shut down, young girls are not able to attain education. Young girls are not even able to steady themselves and reflect what do they want to do with their lives. Because you know the effect of this, one of the serious effects of this is premature pregnancies. You get girls, some are raped, some are misled. So a lot of single mothers. So you see a girl you think is a child, but it's a mother. So you have to be taking care of a child and a child. So that is the situation. So but back in Bambuy, we have now 11 professed nuns. One is very elderly. The other 2 is getting elderly, and the serious issue is the crumbling of the health. So we are 11 professed and
Okay.
5 in temporary vows. So that is our number in Bambuy. At this point, we don't have postulants, we don't have novices, just because of the effects of the war.
Jean Paul, thanks so much, Sister Geraldine. Jean Paul, could you just share? You just have to unmute. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Thanks once more to giving me a floor. Well, my province, St. Charles Luanga province, we are the last born province of the order since 2023. So we are still trying to, to find out our way as province. We are about 80 brothers, all of us, with novices, and then. So we are trying to expand the Dominican charism in Equatorial Africa. Our province, the map of our province is about 5 countries: Cameroon, Chad, Central African Republic, Congo-Brazzaville, and Gabon. So since we were erected as province in 2023 by the Master of the Order, so we are trying to work on that way of expanding ourselves according to our territory. And meaning that we are also having some challenges, For years, I remember for years, sisters, and then Geraldine can testify, sisters have been calling brothers to come near them because sisters, they have land. I remember they gave like 5 acres to brothers to come and establish there then. That was then like 20 years or 25 years ago. But those on mission that time were mostly French, so they couldn't speak anything in English, and they didn't want to. So that is the reason why, for years, brothers are not really beside the sisters, even though Cameroon is bilingual. Friars are mainly Francophones, but there is hope. There is hope because we have 2 Anglophone. The first one just have his solemn professed last August. I am sure that through him, we are going to find a way one day to establish in Bamenda, in Anglophone zone. Myself, before being sending here on mission, I volunteered myself to go there and try to open, a house. But the provincial was a bit afraid, because we are still young. We need to manage very well our resources, to focus very well where we are going to do and what we are doing. So there is hope. There is hope. There is another Anglophone under formation. Maybe by 2 years, he may have also his solemn profession. Another one went for novitiate in Benin Republic. That means 3 of them, hoping that at the end they are going to make it. So there is hope. So just be praying for us, and then let us, glorify the Lord for the bravery of sisters. Let me say this. We are not speaking here as politicians. Gustave just asked me a question about UN concern on Cameroon. Well, Gustave, there is a platform, a Cameroonian diaspora platform called BAS, B-A-S. It's a diaspora platform all over the world. For years, they have been protesting. Some even protest, in front of the office of the UN in New York. The situation in Cameroon is a very big political situation. I mean, the good answer to respond really to that is a political issue. The UN knows that Cameroon is like 2 separated countries. But now, the dynamic of the world is the dynamic of power. So Paul Biya, our now president, is like a French ambassador in Cameroon, in court, so to speak. So it's difficult for us. If France is willing, really, to free the country, it's up for them to make a call to Paul Biya and say, please stop this. That's why I say to respond to this is a political response. So that is my own view. We have been going on strike many years, for years now, our diaspora. Myself, I went on strike here. We protested because it's not only the issue in Bamenda, in Anglophone zone. There is now a post-electoral crisis since the 12th of October, this year. We have presidential elections in October. And then Paul Biya tried to rig election to stay there again. So there are killings all over the country now. I mean, beside the Anglophone crisis, there is now a kind of socio-political crisis all over. And we don't know. The world know. The world, that's why I say the world functions, with dynamic of power. UN knows very well, and they know what to do. But because it's a political, what can we do? Our diaspora, we are always protesting. I was saying myself, I went on protest here. I went for protest, a peaceful protest here. That was not only for Anglophone problem, that was not for election, for justice, for truth. Because justice protects peace, and peace protects justice. That's not the case in Cameroon. How can you understand someone is there for 43 years? How can he be there for 43 years? If he did not have support, international support, interest, economic interest. Let me now come a bit. Let us speak from the angle of politics. Because for me, I believe this, brothers, sisters. We are not only spiritual beings, we are also socio-political beings because we live in a city, a political city. So that means we need to respond as citizens. We are Christians, but also citizens. Now, when that war started, some people were saying this. I don't want to offend Americans who are here. You know, in Anglophone zone, there is a oil. They discover oil there, just the part close to Nigeria. And then they say behind the war, there is also oil interest. We don't know who is behind it. We don't know. So France wants to still keep Cameroon as its own, I forgot the name in English, sa chasse gardée, its own territory, so to speak. So that is also what you need to know on this issue in Cameroon. So thank you once more for giving us this floor to speak. We are going to speak and pray, believing in the Lord, the God of justice. I know. Brothers told me when I went for protest here last November, brothers from Cameroon say, well, you may not have the right to come to the country again because I am sure that politician will be behind you. I say, well, if I don't give account here on justice and peace, on truth and love, one day up there before God, I have to give account because we are prophets and mostly we are Dominicans. Our motto is truth. We need to speak the truth. I will never forget Exodus 3 from verse 7 to 10. When the Lord said to Moses, I have seen the misery of my people. I have seen its oppression. So now I am sending you to go. So for me, that is my duty as Dominican. Even it's difficult for you as priests in Cameroon, when you are really with your people, the people of God, it's difficult for you to preach or to give a homily without having a kind of socio-political touch on that, because people are crying. It's no more only Bamenda, Anglophone zone. Now it's all over. Try a bit to Google Cameroon on YouTube. You can see the protests all over. So thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, John Paul. Mike Deeb wanted to add a few comments as well. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later. I'm on the webinar still. I'll get back to you, okay? Yeah.
Hello. Thanks for giving me the floor, Brendan. In fact, Jean-Paul has just said many of the things that I'd wanted to say, but I just wanted to firstly say how proud I am that Dominicans have taken Dominicans, our general promote in Rome, New York, Geneva, have decided to make this month for peace focused on Cameroon. Because when I was the general promoter and the delegate to the UN in Geneva, what I discovered there, I finished there 5 years ago, but the issue of Cameroon, especially Anglophone Cameroon, I would have classified as one of the forgotten wars in the world. Something like West Papua in Indonesia and a few other places too. So even though the war was raging there, people didn't want to touch it, mainly because the colonial power or the governments of those countries were too powerful and refused to even allow it to come in, even though, and people didn't want to upset them. So just like in India, no one wanted to upset Indonesia in terms of West Papua. So in what was going on in Anglophone Cameroon, people didn't want to upset France, so they tried to push it off the agenda. When I was there in Geneva, we tried to lobby many countries to start putting it on the agenda. We couldn't do it overtly. We couldn't make statements because it would have endangered our people to a great extent back in Anglophone Cameroon. So we couldn't make any direct statements about it. It would have made them a target. But we tried to talk to many delegations, including at the African level. But unfortunately, things move so slowly at that level that it wasn't possible to get any of them to really come along and want to stick their neck out about it. So that's why I'm so happy to see that this issue has been brought to the attention of the whole Dominican family. And I just want to congratulate all of those of you in Rome and Geneva and New York or wherever who have been enabling this to happen. Hopefully this can make a small contribution towards making this war more visible, less forgotten, and therefore to be reducing the enormous suffering that we've been hearing from Geraldine and John. So thank you. I think I just wanted to offer that comment.
Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Great to hear from you, of course. Others, I'm sure, have comments or questions or curiosities. We have remarkable witnesses here with us that would be very helpful to take advantage of them if you have an observation or comment you wish to share. There appears to be silence. Their message was so profound and clear that they brought us to silence. I think it's such aspects of complexity that Sister Geraldine had brought up of how our nuns in the monastery had converted their mission completely, almost overnight, into a site of refuge for internally displaced people. In part is the effort that we're seeking people to recognize here. Mike, did you have a new comment? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you're in mute there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Now, my question is just to, people like Sister Geraldine and John and Jean-Paul, at this stage, what sort of interventions do you think would assist the situation there becoming more visible and therefore in forcing people to start taking note of what's going on in Cameroon at the moment? Do you have any advice on what sorts of things which might help us to know as Dominicans what sorts of interventions we can make at our local or international levels?
Well, perhaps let me start, and then John and Sister may continue. So you said when you were in the UN, when you were there, I mean, we need to continue the lobbying, the political lobbying, for me. And if perhaps those in charge at the level of the Curia can even issue some document on Cameroon. Perhaps this kind of lobbying can help something. That is at the political level. And then you can also ask brothers, from Cameroon or from my province, mainly our provincial, perhaps to do something, to try to open a house near the sisters, at least to have a spiritual and fraternal support near the sisters, so that they should not be alone. You see, alone. So thirdly, at the local level too, what we do now, as I was saying before, when I was promoter for justice and peace, I connected with the sisters for us to establish a farm to help. We can continue to support this kind of project so that at the local level, they can continue, their charity work. Because Anglophone orphans are everywhere now. Many of them are IDPs, as you were saying. Some are in Yaoundé, in Douala, they are all over Cameroon. And then when they are there, they don't even have, needs to live. So for me, at the local level, we can support the sisters or support, Caritas of lay, or even our province as Dominican friars. We can now try on the ground to do what we can do for them. So that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Thanks, John Paul. Sister Geraldine, any insights or suggestions how we can help you? If you could put your voice on, you're on mute. There. Perfect.
Thank you, Brendan. Personally, I think if I am speaking the mind of the sisters in the monastery, Brother Jean-Paul has already said what can be done, because, like I said, the internally displaced persons have not stopped coming to us. Our health situation has not improved. Our living conditions are getting worse, and we are not finding a means of sustenance. Even what we try to do as vestment, as altar bread, you can imagine that priests, even of the diocese, are afraid to come to us to get those things. So it looks like nuns now have to carry their products and go and stand in the market for priests or for whoever to see. So if we can, if the order can assist us financially so that we improve ourselves, and then we're able to help the people that come to us. Secondly, Jean-Paul has made a very important point. I am 25 years and more in the monastery of St. Dominic in Bombui. And I think it is only when I came in, at my time that I joined the order, that the monastery sisters started seeing friars. Prior to that, we did not know friars. Friars were not coming. And since I came to the monastery, and since the monastery was established, chaplaincy for the monastery is always provided by the bishop or the archbishop of the diocese. There's always a priest who is appointed to be the chaplain of the sisters. We are isolated. We don't have sometimes we just begin to envy other monasteries who will tell us how, oh, friars are giving us a course on this, friars are giving us a course on that. So if justice and peace can, I don't even want to say push the order, look for ways of seeing that there can be friars in the Anglophone region, in Bamenda area, that at least can also be close to the nuns, close to the lay Dominican. John already said it. The chaplain of the lay Dominican fraternity is a diocesan priest. And sometimes they come with their, it's true, we are all one church, but you know what I mean when we talk about the Dominican family. The diocesan priest doesn't have that touch that a Dominican friar is going to have when dealing with Dominican family. So all those are some ways that if they could be looked into, I think things will not be the same for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. John, would you like to add another insight of how you might see that we could be of help?
Yes. Can you get me?
Yes.
Okay. I dot the point of that Father Jean-Paul had contributed already, and I underline the remarks of Father Mike Deep. When I began, I established by saying that St. Dominic's mission was a mission grounded in truth, but this truth was never forced. And I said, the reality, if there is conflict anywhere, if people decry injustice anywhere, it is because truth has been distorted. And where truth is distorted, where there is a lie, justice cannot come on the foundation of a lie. It is impossible. Father Mike Deep has moved close to the corridors of power, and he knows these injustices and he knows the truth. Those who are sitting on the UN bench for justice and peace for the order, they know the truth, and they know that there is a conflict of power when it comes especially to African nations and to a nation like our own. There is interest. There is interest that is beyond human interest, economic interest, and so on. And so we will, if we are to suggest, I'll suggest that the order through the Justice and Peace Commission should continue their advocacy. Our motto is veritas, is truth, and they should know, they know where they can speak truth. It may be taken or not, like Dominic did. He simply preached truth. But somehow, if the order continue to insist and knock on the corridors of power and to speak truth and to say the truth about it, human beings are human beings, black or white. We are all human, made in the image and the likeness of God, as the prayer we are saying stipulates. If you look at the theme that we choose, we said truth and justice for lasting peace. There seems to have been, peace at the barrel of the gun. And Pope Leo XIV is contradicting that. He's saying, disarming peace, unarmed peace. But our own peace has been a peace that it is forced with a gun, which cannot be. It means that there is some deception. There is some deception somewhere. There's some deception somewhere. So I would suggest that the order should continue its advocacy, and like Sister and Father has said, for the Dominicans at the ground level to be working more closer and to be being more present to each other, it will help us a lot. Just like this moment, this month of Dominican month for peace, it has been a wonderful opportunity when our emotions and our troubles, we feel relieved, we feel encouraged, we feel not to give up, we feel the solidarity in prayer and the support that we have had. Sharing our own story is already a big relief. The Dominicans should continue to work as a family. I'm happy because this is the only order in the church that is called a family, Dominican family. There are many orders in the church, but I have not heard any order known, officially as family. And if we continue with this family spirit, if the cry of one person, is answered by others and attended to, then we will seek a solution somehow. we should use our motto veritas, truth, to speak truth where it needs to be heard. Father, my deep knows where the truth, they should continue with that advocacy, whoever is at the helm of the justice and peace at the international level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I want to raise what was placed in the chat. I think an adult must be Ann Pratt, if I were to guess the name on that. Could you just, there's a comment in the chat by someone whose name is an adult, which I guess is Ann Pratt. I might be wrong. There it is. There's Ann Pratt. So do you want to share your comment? Because I think it comes at a very timely moment of this encounter.
Thank you. I was at an advocacy training with young women over the weekend, and they changed my name, and somehow I can't get it changed back. So,
I will help you.
I think that the situation in Cameroon has been one that has been frequently discussed, both in the high level areas as well as in the human rights section, and the United Nations actually has about 22 organizations that are providing services, but right now, in the northern area in particular, they were providing substantial services in terms of just survival kinds of food and that kind of thing. When the U.S. cut its aid to Cameroon, that really impacted the ability of the UN to work on it almost by 50%. So those two have worked hand in hand, and of course, as we've heard from our speakers today, the government of Cameroon has been very able to not participate in the kinds of efforts that the UN would want for it to do. Now, does that mean that the UN has done all that it can? Of course not. But I think there is certainly an awareness at the UN of the level of the crisis, and has been some attempt to address that crisis, particularly for the refugees and displaced people.
Ellen, and we want to wrap up afterwards to honor the time with a bit of final comments. Ellen, do you want to unmute?
Yes, I belong to a group called Mobilizing Peace and Training Team, and it was formerly Meta Peace Team, and we have sent teams in areas of conflict around the globe. Currently, we are in Gaza, but for the last 18 months, we've been looking at, or a group of us at least, has been looking at Cameroon, and they're talking about possibly sending a peace team to Cameroon. And so we've had people that have been there for like 6 weeks. They've met different people. We're just trying to feel culturally how this would work. And I wondered if there was someone, one of our Dominicans who is in Cameroon, that would be a contact person and could help our group understand better the way in which we could be helpful in the best way in Cameroon.
That would definitely be going to John or Sister Geraldine. Would one of you be willing to be an in-country contact for Ellen in their peacekeeper team?
She's welcome.
This is John.
Yes, that is John.
Oh, John Paul.
The
No,
initiative is welcomed.
John Sewoyeba.
So, okay, I see it. And Brendan, can I get contact information from you?
Sure.
Okay.
And Sister Geraldine, would you be open to making sure that includes contact with you and the nuns?
No problem at all.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I know people will be really excited to hear this. So, yeah, I was looking forward so much to today. Thank you.
So we've been
Good step.
we've been given some action steps, I think subtly, and Pratt was challenging those who are speaking from the United States, who happen to represent an institution in the United States. Your country cut half of its funding for support of internally displaced people in Cameroon. Hence the problem our nuns are facing at the monastery today in this crisis. So I think it goes without saying that all of us who are speaking from the US have been given a challenge. Use your name and let your government know how you feel about this kind of cut of important emergency funding for internally displaced people. So offline, I'd be glad to talk with Reg McKillop, the co-promoter for our region, to compose a letter of complaint to our US government about this kind of cut and the endangerment it's placing, and seeking some comment from John and Geraldine to be part of that composition. Well, without due, perhaps just a moment to thank our speakers, John Paul, from the representative of the province of Cameroon, uh, Charles Awonga, thank you, brother, for your sharing. To John Sewoyeba, thank you for your support and leading with our laity movement of Cameroon, and Sister Geraldine Tarr for your courage and peace and blessings to all of the nuns in the monastery, for your wonderful witness for all of us in the north area of Cameroon. Let's all raise our hands and just offer a prayer with this gesture, remembering we are all part of that beautiful Dominican family that inspired Dominic and Catherine and Rose of Lima and Martin de Porres, and reminding us of the spirit of the mission of Charles Lwanga and so many other leaders across the African continent. May God bless and guide us, remembering that we are all part of this great Dominican mission, remembering our dear sisters, friars, brothers, and so many other families of Cameroon these days. Amen.
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 Blessing.